Well, hello and welcome everybody. We're back at another Reanimated, where we watch classic Disney animated films, and we give them our review and talk about, what we like and don't like, and merchandise and attractions and all that. And on this one, we're doing "Make My Music," which is from 1946 and is, I guess, comparable to Fantasia, most likely. So
the closest, yeah. I guess.
Let's get into it. Alrighty. So, who wants to start off? Lou, I'm guessing.
Right.
Some tidbits.
As our esteemed host said, 1946. It's a 1946 American animated musical anthology film produced by the Walt Disney Studios and released by RKO Pictures on April 20th, 1946. And it premiered in New York City. And then it went into general release on August 15th, 1946 in the United States.
Quick question. We keep talking about RKO. Does Disney end up buying them, or
no? They go defunct in the 50s.
Oh, okay. I was just we never hear about them. I want to
I know.
bought them off and then change the name.
Right. But they go defunct in the 50s, and this is after Disney forms Buena Vista Distribution Company in 1953.
Got it.
But up until then, RKO is doing most of the releasing for the feature content.
Okay.
Cool.
Right, so a little bit behind the rationale behind Make My Music talks here in the production notes about the war and about how most of the staff had been drafted into the armed services to fight the war. And those that remained at the studios were being used by the United States government to produce what we've talked about in Victory Through Air Power, Three Caballeros, and Saludos Amigos. And it's more or less government output that they're doing for the duration of the war. And this is Disney's first animated release after the end of the war in its total. I mean, because Three Caballeros is made during the war. But this right here, Make My Music, is the first Walt Disney feature film to be made completely post-war. So that's kind of a mark of distinction. As we know, at that time, because of the war, the studio was littered with unfinished story ideas. And in order to keep the feature film division alive, the studio started releasing package films like this one, which are composed of various vignettes or smaller cartoons set to music. This is the third package film following Saludos Amigos and the Three Caballeros. And what's distinct about this film, it was entered into the 1946 Cannes Film Festival, which is the big international film festival in Cannes, France, in the Riviera and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. And then we can go on to talk about it's composed in 10 segments to include as follows: The Martins and the Coys, The Blue Bayou, All the Cats Join In, Without You, Casey at Bat, Two Silhouettes, Peter and the Wolf, After You're Gone, Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet, and the finale, The Whale That Wanted to Sing at the Met.
Some of these
has a really cool cast, huh?
Yeah, some of these are very classic cartoons that I've seen. I
remember. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like at school and stuff.
Like a lot of you talked about with Three Caballeros. The first time I'd seen this film wasn't until I was in my 20s. But when I was a child, I'd seen all these segments on The Wonderful World of Disney or Wonderful World of Color at one time or another, or during a school presentation.
Yeah.
I remember in music class, we actually watched Peter and the Wolf because of the score.
I couldn't even count how many times I watched Casey before I knew what that was.
Yeah.
Also, is that where Casey Corner came from?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is directly related to Casey at bat.
Wow.
Nice.
That's cool. That's cool.
And if you remember, the last time you were in Casey Corner, the cast members' costumes are that of old timey baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, with the stripes, the pinstriping, and the colors. And then the jerseys are all patterned after old timey baseball uniforms.
And Disney had, I don't know if it was just regular cast members, but there was like a Disney baseball team at one point.
Yes. But
Oh,
also
right.
the
There's some-
intramural studio team that would play other studios at the time.
I remember looking at pictures of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Nice to get one of those jerseys.
Yeah.
And of course they also dovetailed that into the Mickey Mouse Club, and the Mickey Mouse Club was doing intramural sports with other studios at the time as well.
That'd be kind of cool. Just like
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
be on part of one of those teams, and like especially if you're like going against other studios, like
Yeah.
Brothers
Like
and
the
stuff.
Warner Brothers team,
Yeah.
the Paramount team.
That'd be awesome.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That would be cool.
That's all the production, or
Well, I mean, I got more, but we can get into it
Okay.
as we go on. But
Were you gonna review like each of the 10, or?
well,
talk about whatever you want to talk about, really. So, if that's all the release notes, then we'll just watch the trailer.
It's the Andrews Sisters. You'll hear many other screen and radio favorites as Walt Disney brings you something new, something different in screen entertainment. In his latest full-length Technicolor...
Feels more like a trailer, this one.
My music. A tuneful fun show that has everything. There's action as those fusion folks, the Martins and the Coys, go a-gunnin' to the last generation to the swingy singing of the King's Men. Romance, as Dinah Shore's throbbing voice unfolds Walt Disney's magical story of the two silhouettes.
Together in the afterglow.
It's real Fantasia stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
For laughs, listen to the mighty saga of Casey at the bat, as only that inimitable Jerry Colonna can tell. There's suspense that will chill your blood
There's
as
Pop
Sterling
Gun.
Holloway brings you the
Yeah.
shivering, exciting tale of Peter and the Wolf.
That cat reminds me a lot of Figaro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For good measure,
Here's your eyeballs.
Goodman has always
Yeah, this one was good.
Walt Disney's Make My Music. Before your very eyes, Walt Disney reveals the amorous escapades of Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet through the smooth sending of the Andrews Sisters.
Look, it's the hat.
Hatbox Ghost.
Yeah.
And you won't believe your ears as the tragic story of the whale who wanted to sing at the Met is revealed through the thrilling voice of Nelson Eddy, using 3 voices in a surprise singing adventure.
Smash all the people.
Poor guy in the middle. Absolutely backwards.
Get right into like what is everyone's favorite part? You know, what kind of things stuck out to you, Steve?
I didn't like you start off with me what I don't like. I've seen that Casey thing a bunch of times, and I don't know why, but it just bugs me. I don't like that one. I don't. And of all things, why did they have to end it with the whale dying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
why was that the last one?
But the whale goes to heaven.
Yeah, I know.
There's
The
that.
whale is for- like
She goes to
Europe,
She goes to Snow White's castle in the clouds.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
But like
Why do you end the
but not-
movie
not
on
the
that?
penguin, but like the bird, it dies, but then it doesn't die, and then
Yeah,
all
or like the first,
poison, whatever
you
they'll
know,
die, and then
the first one with the McCoys. You know, they all die too, and they're in the
Yeah.
clouds and fighting each other. And that one was actually kind of funny because of
and
the,
I've seen that one a lot too.
yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
there's a lot of death in it, wasn't there? It was,
Well, except for Grace and Henry, they're the only ones left, and they
Yeah.
marry. So yeah.
Well, then they started fighting at the end, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
and then it
and-
starts all over again. So the whole
'Cause
feud.
that's based on Hatfield and
The
McCoy.
Hatfields and the McCoy, right?
So
Yeah, and then what I did like is some of the music because
Yeah,
I grew
the
up
music's
on
good, yeah.
swing and big band music, so
Yeah.
my parents are old.
Yeah.
So I grew
Yeah.
up with that type of music.
No, both sets of my grandparents were totally hot to trot for big bands.
Yeah, my
swing,
granddad
jazz.
was as well. Yeah, like Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra and jazz and lounge music, all that type of stuff. So, one of my favorite ones was like All the Cats Come to Town. I think it's called.
All the
Yeah.
cats join in. Right.
All the Cats. Come in. That was a really good one. I like that one. That was.
That's
good.
my favourite one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that. The animation was really cool. It was like there's that kind of era of like Mickey that I like the pie eye, like pie eye Mickey.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird.
kind of
I had to get used to it when I first saw
Yeah,
it. Like, oh
like the
yeah,
beady eyes. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's weird, but it kind of grown me a little bit. I really
It's
like
just
that.
so cool the way that like the animators drawing it as they're going along.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah,
really
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's what really stuck out. Like as one of my favorite parts is just watching them draw things as it came alive.
Right. As
Yeah.
like almost stream of consciousness. They're drawing it as it's being
Yeah.
created. Right.
Yeah, one of the most creative bits was when that little girl was going down the stairs and we were drawing the stairs as she was going. And then she went through the door and then the little girl like slammed into the door because it was
Yeah.
drawn shut. I was like,
Then she hopped into the car, and the car was like not even halfway drawn yet.
It wasn't even halfway
Yeah.
complete. Yeah, yeah.
I like that part.
And we see the pencil back up, and then the pencil
Yeah.
has to rush forward to finish the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That reminded me all the times like you see somebody drawing and like Mickey Mouse comes out and starts like talking and like as he's drawing them, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was cool that.
So,
Yeah, the music
so
was
my
good,
favorite segment is Peter and the Wolf.
That's my second favourite segment.
And I like Peter and the Wolf the best because it's the classic Disney formula animation, harkening back to Silly Symphonies, harkening back to the original Mickey Mouse shorts. I mean, the animation to me is the highest quality for Peter and the Wolf. And also, it's narrated by Sterling Holloway, the Cheshire Cat.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's the
I'm a
bird
big
in
fan.
there too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool because they talk about the Prokofiev piece, Peter and the Wolf, and each of the characters are symbolized by a different instrument in the
Right.
piece, right?
Yeah, I like how
So-
that started.
So, example, Peter is represented by a string quartet, Sasha by the flute, Sonia by the oboe, Ivan by the clarinet, Grandpa by the bassoon, the hunters through gunfires by kettle drums, and then the evil wolf is by horns and cymbals. So I thought that was really cool. They tied to a character to like different instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was clever.
It's cool. Like I said, like how it started, and they all like had their kind of beginning solo thing where they
Yes.
show the instrument.
Mm.
Yeah, that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
So definitely my favorite segment of all 10.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the Our Storybook boats ride, did at Paris, because there was a whole Peter and the Wolf section as you go around
really?
the bend,
Oh,
which
wow.
they've now replaced with Frozen.
Oh no.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course.
The section as you come around the corner and it's with Peter and the Wolf was my favourite bit of that ride. Because that just reminds me of being a kid, because I've seen it. I mean, we watched it at school. I watched it when they used to show Repeats, A Wonderful World of Disney. That's the bit that jumps
Yeah.
out at me more than any other part of this film, because I've seen it the most.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that the second one, Blue Bayou, the Blue Bayou one, and that
Yes.
music. Wasn't that supposed to be in like Fantasia or something like that? The Blue Bayou.
Yes, it was. The animation was originally intended for Fantasia using Claire de Lune, which is by Debussy,
Right.
and also what's called the Suite Bergman-esque by Leopold Stawisky, who conducted the music for Fantasia. And we get to hear about we get to see the egrets flying through the Everglades during the moonlit night, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But by the time Make My Music is released, the song is replaced by Blue Bayou performed by the Ken Darby Singers.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
that was
one of my vocal group at the time.
And that was one of my least favorites.
Blue Bayou.
The Blue Bayou segment. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Other than Casey at Bat, which you said you did not.
Yeah.
like at all.
There's something with that I don't know what it is, but that's just a really annoying cartoon for me.
Well, let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
So is it,
Yeah.
you think, because of Jerry Colonna's narration and his singing?
You know,
Is
I
that
don't know.
annoying?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that or a combination of the character and
Oh, Casey. Okay.
yeah, Casey himself. Yeah.
Right.
Out of everything, that seems to fit the least. I mean, I know they're not 10 things that usually go together.
Right.
No,
Right.
Out of the whole 10 things, that seems to be the one that doesn't fit.
Yeah,
because
right.
the Blue Bayou and the two silhouette ones.
Yeah. I was thinking the two silhouettes doesn't fit at all, but that's just me. I mean, and I
Yeah.
love Dinah Shore. I love Dinah Shore.
Well,
singing.
yeah, yeah.
God rest Dinah Shore. But like just a couple of rotoscope dancers, I mean,
Yeah.
come on. That's filler. With respect.
Yeah, yeah.
It's filler, nothing but.
Yeah. So
Gotta
that's
stretch it out to that 75 minutes, kid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
it's funny because I watched that Casey cartoon so many times.
Sure.
That's what sticks out the most for me.
Oh,
It
that's
might not be my
good.
favorite part, but it sticks
Right.
out the most. So
Yeah, yeah. It's like
I wouldn't say I like I said, it's not my favorite, but I definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it is the national pastime, so that makes sense.
I really don't care for baseball, so that doesn't make
Okay.
sense. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. So
But I mean,
I think it's
the
because
baseball
it's
is
something I grew
culturally
up with.
significant.
But like the music from what's the Benny Goodman one? After
So all the
you've
cats
gone.
join in?
No, after you've
Or-
gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
after
does-
he's
it
gone.
does-
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
that one was good too. Well, the music is good.
Yeah, yeah. The music was good. Yeah, I like the music.
I really like some of the animation, but not necessarily the music that goes with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm a music Nazi and I know what I like and what I don't like. So
Yeah.
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 Yes.
And the opposite. I like the music, but the animation was kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I don't think I have like a favorite on the music. I think I enjoyed the animation more on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, some of the
That's fair.
animation was for me was a bit iffy. Like the silhouettes, like Lewis was saying, it's kind of like fillerish.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I kind of get it because, like, you know, they're trying to push out something, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're making it with very little staff because a lot of staff were,
A lot of this stuff
In the
was
army.
still being drafted, yeah.
unscripted. They were running on skeleton crew, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, wasn't there a Fantasia clip where they outlined people too? And
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
wasn't that the
They-
flower one where they were drawing and they went back and forth?
Right. They did that with the mushroom dance.
Right.
The mushroom dance was rotoscoped.
Yeah.
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 It's just a stylistic thing, especially back then.
Oh yeah, sure. And it was experimental.
That's
Yeah.
Experimental animation.
that's how they did Tron. They rotoscoped the color back on it.
Yeah, yeah, it's clever when they were doing stuff like that, and that sticks out for me. I think that's one that it's my first time watching it, but it's something that I will kind of like remember seeing, like that kind of style of them like drawing as they go along. I always find it kind of like fascinating, and it's just artistically, it's kind of impressive. You don't really see that nowadays.
No.
Like, and it'd be harder to do obviously because everything's like 3D animated and on computers, but like hand drawn stuff, like you don't really see it that often anymore. So to take the time to do that on like we were saying, like a skeleton crew is quite impressive, to be fair.
Indeed.
So
Yeah, especially for like the time frame.
oh yeah, especially like right after the war was finished.
Right.
Like, you know.
Well, that's what we were talking about with Saludos Amigos, right? Like it was rushed out,
Yes.
Yeah.
small crew.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but it was still really good though. It was
Absolutely.
still really good. And the three caballeros as well, like very, very impressive, very good for the time and everything. Like for it being run on such a small crew, you know, it's very impressive, and it stands like it stands for me like in, you know, one of my favorites that I've watched so far. So
Yeah.
I mean, they don't go back to making a full-length feature animation only film until Cinderella in 1950. So they've still got another 4 years of making
the
stuff.
anthologies,
Anthologies.
yeah, just random stuff.
and
Yeah.
hybrid, so they're not really animating full time. So it's going to take them another 4 years to get back up to speed,
Agreed.
Yeah.
which is a long time in movies.
Well, if you think about it, if people came back from the war and they got their shops, their teams back together, it probably takes much time to write the stories to come back up to things
Exactly.
Yeah.
where they can
Yeah,
get
definitely.
So it's actually pretty, I don't know, it's pretty good that they still managed to keep going with these package anthology films and the hybrid movies to keep the studio running until they were all back up to speed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, now your business would go under, wouldn't it? I mean, look at COVID. Look how many companies got lost in COVID because people couldn't work. So if this happened now, Disney might not exist.
Yeah.
The way that it did then. It's crazy to think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we also got to remember that Disney back then wasn't the powerhouse that it is today.
No.
Disney was definitely one of the small companies. It wasn't a majors like Warner Brothers
Or MGM.
Paramount or MGM, right? It was a smaller studio.
Yeah.
And it's only going to start getting big in the 50s when Walt branches not only into feature animation but also into feature live action films. You know what I mean? And then television, then the theme parks, and then it's really going to take off.
Yeah.
You know, but at this time in 1946, like they're literally like Walt's trying to make ends meet by throwing together these anthology films just to keep the lights on at the studio.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
kind of crazy to think that like Disney was such a small company back then.
Right.
And it's kind of like you would think like obviously with Snow White being as massive a success it was, that obviously I know he put all the money into the new studio and everything, but over on like Hyperion Drive, but like it's kind of crazy to think that like he didn't have enough money to keep the company afloat through the war. Obviously, you know, he never knew the war was coming, but like enough money to kind of like keep the lights on essentially over that period of time, and he had to still make ends meet, even with like winning an Oscar for the first full-length feature film. Like it's kind of crazy to think that like he was still tiny at that point. Like
he put a lot of his money into Snow White, right? So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yes, he remortgaged his house and everything. Yeah, remortgaged his house, didn't he? Like twice over.
Right.
To like pay for it.
And Roy mortgaged his house.
Yeah.
They mortgaged their parents' house. I mean, they did a lot of like trying to borrow money and move money around to make Snow White. So like Zach was saying, like literally 2 years later, we're at war, and like they're having to literally the government steps in and goes, okay, rerun it now.
Yeah.
But fortunately, after the war was over and the Allies won, they gave it back, and Walt was able to get back into business, doing what he does best, telling stories, right? So
Yeah.
win-win for everybody.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you know this, but was the government able to do that just because Disney was the smaller company?
No, Disney. Well, the government did it because the government had the power to do it. Like they used.
Why? Why are they
War Powers Act.
Disney and not like Warner Brothers or someone else? You know.
Well, because Disney was the finest animation company in the world at that point. That's the reason the government set its eyes on Disney, not because they couldn't get the same out of Universal with Walter Lantz or Chuck Jones over at Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, yeah.
You know, or the other guys over at MGM. I mean, they knew they could get Disney, so they got it.
Yeah.
And they were the best, and they are the best, in my opinion, and continue to be the best. And I think that's why they're so attractive to the U.S. government.
Mm. Yeah. Fair dues. I mean,
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with you again, Steve. What
Sure.
what would you have changed though to improve things that you didn't like?
One of the first things I would do was rearrange the movie segments. So I would have maybe ended with what's that one?
All the guys tune in.
Yes, I would maybe ended with that because that's.
I would have ended it with the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. You
Yeah.
have to want to try to end it on a down note.
Yeah. Because that was like, the music in there was great, the animation was great.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
I would have ended with that.
Yeah.
And it was definitely the most contemporary piece
Yeah.
of the
At that
entire film.
time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. I'd agree with you on that one, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is with this is that if we were to re-release this today, we could put it in any order you wanted.
Yeah.
The magic of video editing, we could definitely like put Willie the whale that wanted to sing at the Met. We could put that second or third or even first if you wanted.
Yeah. Or out of the whole thing entirely. So.
Right. Or, yeah, cut it from the film if you want. Sure.
Brand new. There's only 9. One disappeared.
Yeah.
The whale that
He got swallowed.
Yeah. The whale that ate Pinocchio. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, would you change anything else besides that?
I mean, I'd probably some of the animation was a bit iffy, but obviously that's for the time. It was right out of war, so I'd probably take out the silhouettes. I didn't really like them as much as some of the other segments, and I'd put in, I don't know, something more Fantasia-esque, like or like Three Caballeros, where the music kind of like moved with the animation a bit more. But yeah, I'd probably take those out and swap them about.
Like Aguilera's de Brazil, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I agree with
the name.
Music fitting, following along, but
Yeah,
I actually do like the rotoscoping kind of stuff.
yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah, they could have just made it a bit more exciting, I suppose.
Sure.
yeah.
Not necessarily, they could have done a different style of dancing, not necessarily ballet.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they could have done like with Cats Join In and done the Hep Cat swing dance.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. There could have been
that
some
would've
more
been
like
cool.
contemporary pieces at the time. Like there was a lot more classical stuff. I think one of the like
Yeah, I think
contemporary pieces.
Or go back and do the jitterbug stuff.
Yeah.
some
sock
of
hop.
the big band and the sort of like the swing dance music from the war years is really upbeat and really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They picked a lot more, I don't know, maybe 30s style of music. So I think they could have updated the music to make it a bit more contemporary and a bit more with it. I think that's what put me off. Some of the music felt old for the time, even for the late 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you said that it's like like they had this older stuff and they never used it, so then they
Yes, they
hey,
used
let's
it.
put it in here.
Yeah. Some
I
of the
totally
music.
get Peter and the Wolf section with the classical music, but that's perfect. That would have fitted sort of in Fantasia kind of essence.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
the other music just
Didn't
felt
really fit.
old.
Yeah. Old. Yeah. It just felt old. And it didn't feel like it was for the time. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add to that. I agree with some of your stuff, but not everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, fine then.
Hang on a
You're
second.
not-
You're out of here.
None of
No,
it.
I'm just trying to think if there was anything else I would do differently, but I
Yeah.
what you guys said, it all makes sense. But yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
I was going to say none of it's really bad.
Yeah,
Like
No.
I mean, we all like and dislike different bits,
Yeah.
different segments for
yeah,
different
yeah.
reasons, which is
Which is cool.
Yeah.
because
I
there's
feel
5
like
of
it-
us in bits.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say it's very, for me, it's very like in the middle of the road. It's like I wouldn't
Yes.
be opposed to watching it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it.
To watch it, yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see
Like
why
it-
it was popular at the time completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I can see why it's not on Disney Plus. That's what I can see.
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
In
the first
particular, the
one.
first segment.
Yep.
Yeah,
In particular, the
yeah.
first segment, and that's why it's not
Yeah.
on Disney Plus.
yeah.
But they
But
could
Lord
break.
knows they'll. I'm about to say,
I
but
mean-
Lord knows they'll put on the violent stuff on the Hulu part of Disney Plus bigger
Yeah.
than live.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Lord knows, don't make my music on there.
yeah.
I just don't. I just think everything should be available.
Indeed,
Yeah.
as we
The
talked
entire
about.
library.
with a warning or
Yeah, exactly. Don't
restriction
And
or something
let-
like that.
limit shit.
Let us decide.
Exactly.
Let the
Yeah,
people
exactly.
decide. Agreed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all like. There's 5 of us. We all have our different opinions. We don't get mad at each other because we have
No.
different opinions.
Grr.
It's like, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, boss.
oh, wrong way. Wrong way.
bastard.
Ah, you bastard! Get out of it. Not allowed anymore. You're not allowed to have a different opinion to us.
No,
No.
no. It's all peace here.
Yeah, peace.
Did you show this to your kids, Lewis?
Yeah, I did. So, believe it or not, this is a first. The grandkids like it.
Wow.
They,
Oh,
they like the film.
Oh,
even
cool.
even the rotoscope after you've gone and without you, they liked it.
Do they
Mainly
like
because
it
my-
'cause it's in shorter segments?
Right, and they're both very short.
Yeah.
They actually liked it, and no bribery was involved in this screening. You know what I mean? So yeah, a little small victory. Get them when you can. So,
Yeah,
is it relevant? I'm not exactly sure, but I know they liked it.
wouldn't.
So
Yeah,
that's
I wouldn't.
See, that's
But it was relevant at the time, but now it's very outdated. Like the
Very
music.
Yeah,
is-
if you want to watch it to see what was relevant in the mid 40s after the war, then yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
well,
It's like a history project or something.
Yeah. Every time we get to this point and seeing if the kids would like it, I'm like, yes. And Lewis is like, Mike,
No.
kids would like it. And now I'm like, I don't think kids would like it. And you're like, well, my grandkids like it.
they're kids. What are you going to do? They're like,
I'm saying
"Ah,
I
try to
must
hurt
have
them."
been a totally different kid because I would like. I would
When Em was when Em was small and when my other 2 kids were small, which they're very much not now because they're Zach's age, they liked Peter and the Wolf, and they've seen Peter and the Wolf, and also they've seen some other bits of this, like the whale section. They didn't like that at all. They didn't like the fact that he died.
Yeah, I mean,
But the
fair.
Peter and the
Out of
Wolf
water
section
almost.
seems to be popular now, regardless. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that stuck out to me too. Is like, why isn't he like in a big tank drinking or singing out of the water?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just kind of standing up.
it's a cartoon, right? And that's not how whales work in real life.
It's definitely not. I don't think that whale would have fit in the door.
No.
You see how big he was? Like, he was
Yes.
like 2 stories tall. Like, yeah.
It wouldn't have even fitted on the stage. It would have clashed.
Yeah,
was, like,
especially
hanging out.
the weight of an adult sperm whale. Oh yeah, it would have gone right through the floor.
What I did want to do was punch the guy that kept trying to kill him.
Oh yeah, that knucklehead. I agree.
Yeah.
yeah. He was a douche.
Yeah. Teddy Toddy was the character that was trying to
Yeah.
chase Willie the Whale. And yeah, he was definitely a Disney villain if there ever was one. Agreed. And it's weird that you have villains in this short piece, but I guess you do the wolf and Tatatati. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those guys are the villains of the piece, so to speak.
It's funny.
So you really can't blame the wolf. The wolf's doing what the wolf's doing. You know, I mean, the wolf's got to,
He's
live,
just
right?
misunderstood. That's
Yeah.
most villains are.
Yeah.
It's funny to see this kind of animation, like Casey and the McCoy's one, and that style. It reminds me so much of, the Tom and Jerry.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Cartoons.
Slapstick.
Yeah,
Slapstick animation.
Roadrunner.
yeah,
Yeah.
Looney
Yeah.
Tunes and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Definitely.
I can't look at you talk with seeing myself in the background.
Oh yeah. There,
It's like I'm looking at you.
and you're wearing the same shirt.
No, it's not. This is actually a new one. Sorry.
Sometimes his TV distracts me so much. I end up doing this, trying to see what we were talking about and what's on.
This one's with Udi.
Oh yeah, that's one of the older.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun watching the old stuff because how we were talking or what we were talking about and stuff. And
When those two weren't ish, as that's what they're saying.
yeah, before you
No.
guys.
Go back and watch the first few ride throughs. You can see how both of their rooms evolve.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah,
moved
yeah.
in and he's got nothing. He's got a chair.
I just
Jason's
moved into
got-
the house. That's what.
Jason's got hardly anything behind him. He might have the Iron Man up, but he's got none of the other stuff behind him. No guitar on the wall, no pictures, no
Well,
nothing.
I had just bought. You can't even see it. That bookshelf here.
Yeah.
I already had this,
And filing.
but
But
that
the-
bookshelf I had just
yeah.
bought. So
You've got nothing on that, and then sort of slowly over the weeks, Jason's stuff starts growing, and Steve ends up with one shelf, then another shelf, then he puts the posters up, then he takes them
Yeah.
down, then he puts another shelf up. It's like-
And you know what? I got to redo all my walls because they're full of holes.
yeah, well, you started in the corner and all that. So.
Yeah. So I started in this corner back here where I had my desk up against my window and I
Yeah.
turned my desk so I'm up against the wall.
Yeah.
And then I moved to this corner over here where my train set is now. So I've been all over the place. And now I'm back to one of my original spots.
Yeah, we can't even see a drum set anymore or anything.
Now my drum set's over here now.
I know. I mean, but you said
Can't see that. Can't see the hole in your ceiling.
Where's the window?
So
Where's your bed now?
where's my what?
Where's your bed now?
It's on this side. So
It's
if you remember, I was the other way around.
Yeah.
So this wall that's behind me was where my TV is now. And my TV was on this wall. My computer desk was on this wall.
So now we can't see your doors that are.
No, I don't. Yeah. You
No,
couldn't-
that's what freaked me out yesterday. I was like,
Yeah.
something's different. There's where.
Yeah.
There's posters where the door should be.
yeah.
Yes.
So my
So
doors
where are
are
your,
over
your
there.
doors are, yeah.
They're on either
Yeah.
side of me over here now.
Yeah.
So he's round the other way.
Yeah.
This is how I was for a long time.
Yeah.
If you look back on some of the other videos.
All right. Let's get back to it.
Distraction.
Yeah.
Cut.
Cut. No, we're not gonna cut it. It's a good conversation.
My room is a good
Behind the
conversation.
scenes thing. Anybody else have anything else that we don't want to change, or that about covers it?
No, just I think we're all agreed with the sequence.
Yeah.
That would be best changed.
And
And other than that, it's all
Yeah,
good.
especially the last one. Like I said, you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you
that
end?
was-
Yeah, I didn't like the ending because this.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had that short, like in the middle, okay.
It's
Yeah.
like having a movie where the main character dies. Like there's reasons why you don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want people to leave and on down note and be like feeling
Right.
sorry for themselves.
Right. Because again, the war had just ended, and people have done a lot of tragedy over the last
Exactly.
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
and
Exactly. So that's why it didn't make sense either to me. Is like why the Allies won. You should be happy and all this, and then you show this film.
Maybe that was just in their heads, like people were dying, so they're still kind of animating what they know. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder who was in charge of this sequence.
We need to
The
snap.
whale sequence.
No. All of the movies 1 through 10. Who was in charge of
Putting them in order.
putting those movies in order? Is there a or did they draw it out of a hat?
Well, I mean, the primary
You're
director
never going to guess the last one.
was Jack Kinney, but Jack Kinney had a team composed of Clyde Jerome, Hamilton Lusk, Joshua Mador, and Robert Comack. That's
So
who
that group?
directed. Yeah, that team directed the film.
Okay.
And I'm presuming that
I'm sure
each one
it's
of the
them.
directors- right.
Yeah.
They were the ones that, I guess, finalized the sequence order.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm curious. In my head, there would be no doubt that conversation didn't come up where they're like, why are we ending with this one?
You would think so.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong.
But then somebody's like, I have the pen, you don't.
Yeah.
I have Walt here and you don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. The wall could have been like, no, I want this one last.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have. Yep.
Exactly.
It's weird to think 20 years later. Because that's 1946.
Yes.
And 20 years later, he's
Yeah.
gone.
It'll be the end of an era. Right.
Yeah. Crazy.
But a glorious 20 years we're going to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A wild ride.
Is there any merch ever for this?
Peter and Wolf. I thought Peter and Wolf
I'm
had.
glad you mentioned this.
Yeah.
So let's go into like the parks, the merch, the other influences impacted by this film. So
I'm pretty sure I've seen the Casey statue or something at one point.
right. So
We've got
we
one at Disneyland Paris outside
Casey's Corner at Disney World. Yeah.
so Casey's Corner is the big centerpiece of Make My
Yeah.
Music's influence in the parks today.
Mhm.
And you have a Casey's Corner literally at almost every Disney park, with the exception, I think, of Shanghai
And us.
and Hong Kong.
Well, we call it Coke Corner.
Core corner
Coke
by
corner.
us. Yeah.
Right.
Did
but
you
the
have a
point is
Casey statue or do you not?
We do not.
You
But
do
the
not.
influence is still very felt in the cast member
Yeah.
uniforms, the decor, all
Yeah.
harkening back to the turn of the
Most
century.
people have no idea that it relates to this short in this movie.
No,
What
no.
we do have is a half red, half white light.
Yeah.
Right.
A light
Oh,
bulb.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest
I
influence.
knew it was always about Casey's anyway. So
Right.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was something to do with an animation or something. I just didn't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect it to be about some random baseball guy. Okay.
Yeah. Because when I first heard it was either from Lewis or from Kenny about Casey Corner.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why did they name that Casey Corner? Because
Yeah.
at Disneyland, it's always been Coke Corner, or
Yeah.
it was actually something else before that.
but isn't there a hot dog named Casey or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
There is.
some of
Because
the
hot dogs are big associated with baseball.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think I've seen a little collectible of Casey.
Yes. They're a marquee.
My cat.
They've had Mackie. They've had the Casey Mackie, and they've also done Peter and the Wolf.
Is that how it's pronounced, my key?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least that's what I was watching when I watched the not a goof film the other night on Disney Plus. And Kevin,
I was trying to
Kevin Lehman
because I'm stupid, I guess. I don't know.
was called it a maquette,
I don't
and
know.
I was like, Marquette, maquette. Okay,
I guess it
tomato,
depends on
tomato.
what the origin of the word is from.
Right.
French.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, that's a given kind of, I guess, but who knows? Market
Yeah.
is not, spelled that or said that way. So,
Right.
No.
um,
And then they have a Blue Bayou.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not related.
no, that's because it's from New Orleans and whatever.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And
No-
the Blue
nothing
Bayou
from-
sequence in the film is in Florida,
Yes.
pre-Disney Florida, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And nothing from All the Cats Join In.
No.
We do have a Hep Cat Cafe, or we did have a Hep Cat
Oh, really?
Cafe
Yeah.
in Disneyland Paris. And it was in
Wow.
Studio One, which is the thing that's being redone to be turned into the world premiere.
And I think they had a jukebox there at the Hepcat
Yes.
Cafe too. So that was definitely in tune with all the cats join in. There was another
Yeah.
influence.
I
And
just
it was styled very much like it as well. So it was like
The malt shop.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh wow, cool.
It was
Okay.
Yeah,
quick-
I knew that.
And it was underneath the quick service restaurant as you go in on the right hand side. So, and it was all stylized in the same
Yeah.
I just read here that there was actually some mild female nudity in all the cats join in.
Yeah, and
And it was edited
she
out.
jumps out of the shower.
Oh, is that what
Yeah.
it is? Yeah.
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 Also in the Martins and the Coys scene with the moonlit silhouette of Grace Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
See through, and then he's like,
Right.
Yeah.
That's where Henry McCoy gets love struck. Twitter pated. Yeah.
Twitter faded.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. Even his hair.
I know.
That's like wings. It's the best.
It's funny that you watch things like that now from back then, and it's always the woman who's the temptress and she's taking the poor guy away. And
Yeah.
it's not that at all. It's not that at
No.
all, but you crack on.
What do you guys think about the hat? Was it Johnny Fedora?
Johnny Fedora and Blue
Alice Blue.
Alice
It was
Blue,
cute.
right.
Yeah.
It's funny because I know I've seen it before a couple times,
Me
but
too. Yeah.
I don't remember them having little kids.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's
Little
just,
hats.
that's just funny to think about it. Like,
Their hats, how do they get it on?
yeah, like what, how do they do that?
Yeah, how does a hat happen?
Did they do that?
And why does it take someone so long to buy the hat? Like they must have been together for years.
Yeah.
But there's still. Is there other merch around that you guys have seen?
No.
The only thing I ever saw, which I think it was part of it, was Peter and the Wolf stuff.
Yes. So they
That's the
used to
only
have
thing
Peter
I-
and the Wolf merch at Disneyland Park in
Disneyland.
California.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they would have like the plushies of the Wolf, Peter, Sasha. Oh yeah, sure. In the 70s,
And the flute?
absolutely.
And the flute,
Yeah, well, Sasha. That's
is that what it's called?
that's. Well,
That was the
there's-
little bird.
The
there's a
bird.
little bird, and then Sonia.
Well,
Right.
but
I
I was
remember they used to have those four. Yes, absolutely.
They had the pop guns like that with the
Yeah.
little corks. Would that be a tie-in, or is that more like Davy Crockett kind of stuff? You know,
This is probably
That's-
Davy
yeah.
Crockett.
Well, that's all like that whole Disney thing
Front-
about
Frontier.
guns and frontier and mythologizing the West and all that. So, I mean, could you have a tie-in with the Martins and the Coys? Sure, certainly. Same thing with Peter and the Wolf with the Peter's pop gun. Yeah.
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 And I was really glad to see Sonia back.
Oh yeah.
The duck.
The little duck, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was like, another one?
yeah.
The little bird's crying, "Oh, I've lost
Yeah.
my friend."
I-
Just comes up behind and is like, "What are you
just,
doing?"
just tear turns to the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I've never seen a T-shirt or anything.
No.
No.
I mean, other than the custom build stuff you can get on third-party sites. No, but nothing official from Walt Disney.
You can buy a hat that looks similar to
A funny
Goodwill or something.
There's an Indiana Jones tie in there somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go.
You gonna say something, Lewis?
I was going to say, are we going to get the ratings or we're not there yet?
I was gonna say, do you? How about any other production notes first?
Yes, real quick. I wanted to get into the home video part,
Okay.
right? Or the release, right? So we talked about how it was initially released in theaters in 1946, and it was never given a real wide theatric release, i.e., it didn't really play in Europe or Asia. It was just confined to North America. But instead, the distinct segments were separated, split, and released as either short films or segments on Disney TV, which
Yeah.
is how we all saw
Yeah.
each segment of the film prior to seeing the finished product.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, when I sat and watched it last week or the week before, whenever I watched it, was the first time I'd seen it all together.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, me too. Because I remember seeing some of these, like I said before, all you guys know too, where we've seen these before in school or
Sure.
on TV somewhere.
On TV.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse Club.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach. Mickey Mouse Club.
Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah. No, I've never seen any. I've never seen any of them because I've never.
Not even Peter and the Wolf.
No, it was my first time seeing it. Yeah,
Wow.
first time seeing it.
Wow.
Oh, that's neat. So what
Yeah.
was your thing on seeing Peter and the Wolf for the first time? Did you like it, or did you thought it was kind of weird? Or
No, I liked it. It was quite good actually. Yeah, it was. It's definitely like one of my favorites from there.
From the
I think
group?
I think from the group. I think it's like my third favorite. I think my first favorite has got to be like the jazz one, all the cat.
All the
Yeah.
cats.
Yeah, that's just because of the music, like the
exactly the music.
kind of like,
And
yeah.
seeing that's again. That's why I wish they ended on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It would just make so much more sense. Yeah. But yeah, first time seeing
recut
it.
it just for you.
What?
So we're gonna recut it just for you.
Yeah.
Edit it, yeah, just for a Steve special.
Good. Yeah, and it'll be just that clip.
Just that, yeah, just that one.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
end reel you did on Saludos Amigos. Right. That was a cool end reel, by the way. So yeah.
I don't think the other people know about it.
Oh,
Did you guys watch it?
Of course.
I watched it. Yes,
I put bloopers at the end.
Yeah.
and I thought the end reel was pretty funny. Yeah.
I'm gonna go and watch the bloopers now.
Oh, please do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny. You'll like it.
I think that was like all of them. I mean, it
Was it?
things that I cut out? But
There were like
All of
2 or
it?
3 sequences in the end reel where we're kind of just making
Yeah.
asses of ourselves. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
like when you were talking to him like over me, and I like didn't even hear about it.
Right.
I put that into 2 things, and then Lewis calling himself a jackass.
I was going, oh my God.
I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to put that in there.
You should.
All right. Ratings time. Who wants to go?
Excellent.
Not Steve.
Steve, you want?
No, not me. You guys.
I'll go
We do
first. I'll
it in
go first.
order. Can we do it in
Yeah.
order? 'Cause it's easier for me to fill it before men.
Okay,
Of
go.
course.
You said the
Jason.
order.
Oh, I'm first.
Ah,
It definitely wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't bad. I'm gonna go like a 3.8.
That's very specific. Okay.
Well, it was like I don't know what my lowest one was, but it probably wasn't that.
Victory Through Air Power was your least favorite.
Yeah.
Victory through air power. Oh yeah, you gave that a 1.
Exactly.
all I keep hearing in my head is, "What a jerk." Lewis.
I was like, you said it.
Yeah.
Hey. I mean, like I said previously, it's very down the middle for me. Like, I'm not going to go out my way to watch it, but I wouldn't be opposed to watch it if it was on. So, I mean, I'd probably give it like a 2.5. I think very like right down the middle for me. Yeah.
Got you. Steve?
Yeah, I liked it, but there were more segments that I didn't like than I did like.
Yeah.
So I'm with Zach with a 2.5. Yeah.
Okay, I'm next. Yeah, I love the Peter and the Wolf section, and I like all the cats join in, but the rest of it is a bit meh for me. So it's okay. It's okay. I mean,
That's how I felt, but I don't know.
yeah, I like the animation on some of it. I like the music on the other bits, but not necessarily together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd probably say again, it's a 2 something, and I want to be more generous than a 2.5, but I can't. So it's gonna get a 2.5 from me as well.
If we were doing individual ones, then that's different.
Yeah. Yeah. But holistically, it's like the
Yeah,
whole,
as a
kind of
whole.
like,
It's the whole package.
yeah.
Yeah.
The whole Argos catalog kind of deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Lewis.
I'm gonna give it a 3,
Okay.
and I'm
Yeah.
giving it a 3-1 because they got it put through production so quick, and they got it released so quick. And 2, I thought just Peter and the Wolf was absolutely gorgeous.
Mm.
Other than that, like Sharon said, it meh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the Hatfields and the Coys. I love that story.
Yeah.
Like I've
Yeah.
heard that story since I was a young child. And
Yep.
to see it brought to cinematic life was special, but it's not like Disney special.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It was more like a Chuck Jones special.
Some,
Jim Carrey and
some
stuff.
Walter Lance, like I'm gonna get out a big razor and try to give you a haircut thing. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's not. Yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe I just connected more with a lot of these.
And that's cool. You
Yeah.
can. I mean,
Yeah.
look at me in Fantasia. And like
Yeah.
everybody else said, no.
yeah.
I'm
What
like,
a jerk!
I like Fantasia too.
So there's bits of Fantasia that I really like, and the rest of it I can quite happily leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
I'm also big in the music, playing music and all that shit. So
Right, of course.
I mean, so I think all of us kind of are too. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Trying to explain my higher rating.
yeah.
That doesn't really matter.
Trying to
We're-
validate yourself.
That's why we're all here. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all have our own opinions.
but that's good. That's what makes us.
yeah, because otherwise it'd be boring. If we all thought exactly the same thing and had the same opinion, it wouldn't make for a really good discussion, would it?
No,
No,
probably not.
no.
I just raised the average percentage rate.
Yeah.
Well, it's still the second lowest. Where have I put it? Oh, it's in the same browser I'm looking at. So, I mean, after the fabulous victory through Air Power, which was the lowest rating, this is the second lowest rating, but this still, it gets a 2.86 average rating, which was still better than Snow White would get if we watched Snow White. So,
Yeah, well,
the remake-
Snow
2025.
White's getting, Snow White's getting a 0, so I'm not
2025,
watching
yeah,
it.
exactly.
That shit would be a negative.
Yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah.
Negative one. Yeah.
so I think for how it was put together, like Lewis said, how quickly it was put together, when it was made,
Yeah,
and that's pretty good.
yeah.
Yes.
And some of the animation was really cool. That like the car and all that stuff,
Yeah.
But then, like you said, others were kind of just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I could take it or leave it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Any last thoughts?
Nope.
I can't wait to get to the next one.
Yeah.
The next one's going to be epic.
If you're going to watch it for historical purposes.
Yeah.
Because
This
yeah.
You're talking about this one, right?
this one, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But the other one you have to watch because it's an absolute classic.
Yes.
You have to watch it.
Yeah, I
If you
can't
claim
wait.
to like Disney, if you claim to
I
like
watched
Disney, you have
like
to watch
first
it.
5 minutes of it.
Yeah. I've not watched it yet, but I definitely.
I'm saving it for this week for when I can concentrate on it.
I watched it right after I ripped that thing off. I even watched it with that disc in my Xbox after I ripped it for you guys.
Yeah.
I've seen it for such a long time.
What did you do to it? What did you do to it?
I didn't rip it off.
Let it rip.
I ripped it off the disc.
I'm glad
Right.
you've ripped it off the disc. 'cause
Only
I can
for
keep it forever.
reviewing
Personal, private.
Purposes.
Educational purposes.
Yeah.
because somebody didn't make it available on their
Streaming service that we all pay for.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So next time we'll be doing Song of the South.
Woohoo!
And it really, really should be available on Disney Plus.
Yes, it should.
And hopefully maybe it will at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Till then, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share with friends and family. And then comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this if you watched it. Let us know what your rating would be. And if there's any kind of merch that you would have made out of this. Because there should be something.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Figures or, I don't know. A hat has
The little bird. The little bird from.
the little bird. Yeah, you could have done a little thing for that.
Yeah.
All
Or
right.
resurrect the stuff from the 70s. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that? All right. Until then, we will see you on the next one.
Have a magical day.
From 1946, and is I guess comparable to Fantasia, most likely. So
The closest, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess.
let's get into it. How's that?
Nice, good job, well done.
I only stumbled once.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
good.
You didn't swear, so that's good.
I know.
Yes. Perfect.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm.
Someone's mic
So
away.
fire.
It's all good.
Uh,